As people who follow my channel will know, it's not often that I find myself agreeing with Nigel Farage, but occasionally he stumbles into an uncomfortable truth like a man finding a light switch in the dark. And Farage's intervention yesterday on abortion, on assisted dying, and family planning support rightly notes that there are issues of personal conscience, and they must be distinct and must be supported. They must be distinct from the weight of the police of law, and he's correct. He's correct to point out the legal inconsistencies that babies born at 22 weeks are now regularly saved by neonatal medicine, while abortion is still permitted at 24 weeks. As somebody who was profoundly premature, of course, I find this almost a personal campaign. But that distinction about 22 and 24 weeks at least deserves discussion, not some sort of diktat because it's already a law. Laws change. That's what Parliament is there for. If Parliament didn't exist, then maybe we could say, oh, the law is set in stone. The law isn't. The law changes. And it's Parliament's job to bring the law to up to date to deal with whatever changes science and medicine and real life invite us to make. That discussion mustn't be monopolized by culture warriors or religious lobbyists. The law is not there to protect religion. That's the job of the churches and of individuals and personal conscience. The law is there to protect to protect society. It must begin with a recognition that laws touching on life and death must not be forced into party lines. It must respect the limits of the state and the primacy of moral agency. Conscience must not be coerced by ideology. And nowhere is this more obvious in the case of Nicola Packer. Here's a woman who miscarried after taking pills during lockdown, pills prescribed legally under extraordinary emergency conditions, and after 4 long years she waited because the courts are overstacked, not knowing if the state would imprison her, not knowing what her future held, her private life ransacked, her grief paraded in public. This isn't justice, this is jaundice and jaundice in a gendered key, a Dickensian farce with a real human cost. And we're prosecuting women on the basis of a law passed in 1861. Victoria was on the throne. The law predates the telephone. And all this at a time when our criminal justice system is crumbling under its own weight. Court backlogs stretch to years, police are overwhelmed, prisons are full to bursting, and into that chaos we insert traumatized women whose only crime is desperation and the dependence on a system that doesn't work. If the system worked, she would have gone to see her doctor. Instead, she took prescriptions through the post. She made her own calculations. She was wrong. She was wrong. Error should not be a crime. And so we turned to Lucy Connolly. I don't necessarily think she was doing the right thing from my own religious point of view, but I shouldn't be imposing my religious points of view on other people through our law. That is not the job of the law. The job of the law is to protect society, not to titillate me. And so we come to Lucy Connolly, the same issues. Connolly's tweet, vile, intemperate, indefensible, was nonetheless deleted within hours. She pled guilty. She's a mother. She has no history of violence or extremism. She doesn't represent a threat. By pleading guilty, she has acknowledged her crime. She is repentant. She's remorseful. And Mike Amesbury, by contrast, assaulted a constituent. He was very reluctant to plead guilty. He did as well in the end, but you wouldn't have known that from reading the newspaper reports initially. He spent 3 nights in custody, and the judge said he'd learned his lesson. He's now free. It's incoherent. If you put the 2 cases together, it's incoherent. If the aim of the law is to protect the public and rehabilitate the offender, then Connolly, like Packer, should not be in prison. It's got nothing to do with free speech. By the way, nothing. I am not getting on this free speech bandwagon here. This Lucy Connolly's case has been hijacked by the free speech tyrants, and they're I think they're wrong. This is about mercy, and you can't be merciful to one person because he happens to have had a career in Parliament and then not be merciful to another. It's incoherent. If the aim of the law is to protect the public and rehabilitate the offender, then Connolly, like Packer, should not be in prison. That's fine. Condemn the speech, but do not confuse punishment with justice. And these cases expose a deeper fracture, the state's confusion about its moral role. It simultaneously wants to dictate conscience on abortion and assisted dying while shrugging at the inequalities which drive people to despair. Farage's proposal: scrap the two-child benefit cap, absolutely. Offer tax breaks for marriage, absolutely. Make it easier for people to have children, absolutely. Why? Because at this particular moment, this may seem economically incoherent, but A, they touch a raw nerve, and B, they deal with a problem that in 20 years' time we're going to have a much, much bigger elderly population that needs pensions, and we're not going to have the people to pay the tax to provide that support, unless people have more children. So Farage at least acknowledges that people are struggling to build families and live dignified lives under a system designed by activists from the days gone past and enforced by algorithms. We need to move forward. We need to be in a significantly better position than we are today. Today we are in a position of legal and moral madness, and we've forgotten what the law is there to do. And if it takes somebody like Farage, this, in some ways, this is about what we see, not about what we do. This is about optics, not obduracy or obrogation. It's about the vision of our society. And just for once, I think Farage has got it right. I think he's absolutely bang on the money in this particular case. These cases expose a deeper fracture, the state's confusion, and Farage's proposals, scrapping the two-child benefit and so on. We cannot make abortion rarer by criminalizing women. We make it rarer by making parenthood bearable. We cannot criminalize despair while refusing to build a society worth living in. Again, my support of these measures is not a support of abortion. I don't support abortion, but I do support making people's lives better. And we are governed by institutions that treat us like infants, a criminal justice system that delays, deflects, and disillusions, a politics that moralizes when it should emphasize, an education system that is as broken as the NHS. The education system, you don't improve the education system by dictating exactly what people teach and exactly what schools people go to. You improve the education system by making everything better. By making one bit worse, you don't make something else better. You never improve something by destroying something else. Destruction should not be the language of politics. The language of politics should be instruction and informed consent and invention. We deserve better. We need a politics that trusts the people it serves, to make hard decisions, to live with difference, to debate with dignity. That means respecting conscience. That means reforming outmoded laws and ending the punitive charade that passes for justice. We need to treat the country as adults, because infantilization is not only insulting, in the end it's dangerous. And if Farage gets that, it may be the first time ever that I've said Farage is right, but if Farage gets it, he is leading the debate rather than toadying around following and trying to pick up fag ends. We need this debate to move forward. If Farage can move things forward, then that's a good thing, isn't it? Now, he may be doing it for reasons that we don't entirely approve of. That doesn't matter. This is politics. It's not about character. It's not about morality. It's about politics, about what you can achieve. And frankly, I'm almost giving up the possibility that the present government or the present opposition can achieve anything.